All right, check the experience. In three, two, one, bang bang. All right, so today I was gonna have a guest that used NA, and for those that don't know who NA is, it's Narcotics Anonymous. And for some reason, he thought that we were gonna do a phone-in podcast, which I don't know how we got that idea. So it didn't work out. However, I got my boy Ian here, my engineer, stepping
What's
in.
up?
And we decided that we were still going to do the podcast, especially after yesterday. For those that don't know, which I'm sure you guys do know, there was a shooting yesterday in Santa Clarita Valley. That's about 30 miles north of Los Angeles, about 20 miles north of the San Fernando Valley. And it's a little close to home just because I live in the Santa Clarita Valley. And on top of it, I was actually about maybe a mile, 2 miles down the street when the shooting was happening. I was at Dunkin' Donuts with my boys, my two young boys, getting them some donuts before they go to school. Little tradition that we do. So I decided that we're going to do this podcast on, the shooting, gun control, things like that. So that being said, I guess we can start off by what's your feeling about guns?
Man, I feel like it's a really politicized issue. I feel like people try and paint it like liberals don't like guns and conservatives do like guns. I feel like a lot of people really fit in this in-between area where I am, where it's like I may have some slightly liberal-leaning political views, but I personally do believe that people have the right to own guns. I don't think people should have automatic M14s. We should have military-grade rifles. But I was in the Boy Scouts, dog. I shot black powder rifles, you know what I mean? I fucking have gone hunting before, like I'm not like wilding out. I'm not saying like I want a fucking Desert Eagle or some shit, but like I think people deserve the right to have guns. But I think gun control is an important issue, and I think kids, especially, or people with like mental issues, like we've talked in previous podcasts, shouldn't be able to easily access guns as well as they can.
Yeah, I agree. I'm all for that. You should own a couple handguns.
Yeah.
Own a shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe,
for intruders.
Yeah. Maybe a rifle
Mm-hmm.
if you're into like long shooting or something.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't need like 40 fucking guns and arsenal and all this ammo. I mean, contradictory to what we're just talking about. I mean, there are those that feel that, if the shit hits the fan, I'm fucking ready. I would hope that if the shit did hit the fan and you did have, I'm personally getting ready to get my own gun.
Yeah.
I've had them before. I got rid of them. I got kids, so I kind of was putting on the wayside.
Understandable.
But now I feel that I have to have the right to bear arms, and I feel that there's so much crazy shit going on that I'd rather have something than have nothing.
Yeah.
You know
100%.
what I mean? And being in LA, it's really hard to get a CCW, and for those that don't know, it stands for California Concealed Weapon. However, I just found out that I can get one because I own my own business.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's used for protection because we transport a lot of money to the bank, things of that nature. So that being said, I truly feel that you should have X amount of weapons in a reasonable amount, sense, or whatever you want to call it. But I don't think that you should have a fucking arsenal like the military.
Yeah, 100%. Having a handgun to protect your business, to protect your family, because living in LA, there's some batshit crazy people
Always.
out there, you know what I mean?
Always.
And even if you're at home, you could have all the lights on, it could be the middle of the fucking day, and people will still try. You never know, some crazy crackhead will be like, oh, you know what? I'm just about to run up, I'm about to do some crazy shit. And it's like I've been robbed at gunpoint before. And
oh, really?
when I was out off 17th Street, it's a shitty area, you know what I mean? But I was out there for a show, 1720, really dope venue and everything, but the whole area around it just absolute garbage. Like the homie's car got broken into by these fools with a baseball bat while we were inside, and then when we left, this crazy ass, I think he was on meth or something, just pulled up on us with I think it was like a 387 or something, and just robbed us. And the whole time I was like, man, this is some shit. And then my friend afterwards the whole time was like, I feel like I should have a gun too. I don't think in that circumstance it would have helped. I think that probably would have made the situation worse. But I think for a home defense, for stuff like that, for your business especially,
I think you should definitely have it for home defense, for business. And I hate to say this, but I think driving around with your family.
Mhm.
I mean, let's just count the shootings that we've heard of so far. So we have a high school that just happened yesterday.
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't even know about that until you brought it up
Right,
today, actually.
right. So we have a high school.
Mhm.
We've had a church, a
Mhm.
couple of churches. We've had a dance club in Miami where the guy walked
Oh,
in.
yeah.
That was about, what, 2-3 years ago?
Yeah,
maybe?
yeah, that was big news.
No, actually a little bit more. I think because Trump's been already in. Oh no,
It was like 3 years or something.
that was during Obama's. I think that was during Obama, right at the end of Obama's
Yeah,
term.
so right when Trump was starting, so
yeah,
like 3-ish
yeah.
years ago.
So a dance club, people were just having a good time.
Yeah, that should
dancing.
be a safe space
Right.
too. It was like a gay dance club or
Yeah,
whatever.
and then we have the country bar right up in here in Thousand Oaks.
Yo, the Thousand Oaks one,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh my God,
So-
a bunch of my friends were there too. When
Yeah,
that
so
happened.
a lot of people forget there were a lot of college students from Cal Lutheran up there.
Yeah.
You know, we have the Walmart shooting where that dude walked in. So technically, right now, we are not safe.
No, not at all. Not in the slightest.
Yeah. So the fact of the matter is that if I'm in the store somewhere and some crazy motherfucker walks in, I'm not gonna try to be Rambo and fucking save, be the hero.
Yeah.
But if I'm pinned somewhere in the corner and I see him fucking rolling around the corner and it's between me and my kids, I'm gonna blast that fool. This is bottom line. I'm already ready for that. So, like I said before, you are not safe anywhere. So going back to not being safe, most parents usually send their kids to school because that's like their second home,
Yeah.
right? It's like you're in school when you're in high school, preschool, junior high. You spend more time at school than you do at home,
Yeah.
right? So it's almost like your second home. And parents usually send kids to school because it makes them feel safe, right? They're my kids. So we're talking about this, and I think that, and you tell me what your take on it. Would you, if you were a student after what happened in Santa Clarita, would you be offended, scared, or pissed off if they put metal detectors in?
I personally feel like a lot of like movies and stuff have tried to make it seem like high schools in like
New York,
or in like worse neighborhoods like out in the Compton or whatever that have like metal detectors. They try and paint it to seem like what school's a penitentiary, the school system they're trying to make it seem like a jail in those like circumstances. But realistically, I feel like having metal detectors on campus when you're coming into a school, I don't really think that's a bad idea. I think it's a perfectly reasonable response to an unfortunate situation. The circumstances kind of lead to things like that. Like, if you have this many school shootings in America, which is absolutely preposterous.
40 this year.
This year alone, you could say, if you had said 40 over the last decade, I still would have thought that's a lot. But this fucking year, dude, I think having metal detectors in, I don't think it's to the point where, every school needs to have, police and dogs and everything crazy going on, but metal detectors when you're coming into the school just to check to see if you have a firearm on you.
You see, I feel different about the police. I think since we get taxed so much here in the state, that we should use some of that money to put in metal detectors.
Yeah.
I feel that we should have 4 or 6 officers on site, just patrolling.
Yeah, I mean,
and walking, and I also feel that they should do random searches. Yo, what's in your backpack, real quick? Because you never know. Snuck it in. There's so many ways to get a gun in.
Yeah.
And I think, and this is gonna, I know they've been throwing this out. I know in Florida, I believe some professors are doing it. I may be wrong on this, but I think a lot of our school teachers should be armed.
I don't think that every school teacher should have a weapon because, admittedly, this goes back to what I was saying before, in that I think the vetting process for having a firearm, I feel like should be a lot stricter in America. I feel like a lot of people who maybe aren't in the best mental states, are able to easily acquire guns out here. But I do feel like there should be guns in the hands of people higher up on campus. There should be I think there should, within reason, be a safe or two on campus where behind lock and key where kids can't just bust in easily.
Right. But let's talk about this. So you say that we should do
vetting. Yeah.
Besides vetting, but we should have a higher restriction on mental illness.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
and I agree. I'm not arguing that. But here's the curveball I got for you. The kid that did the shooting yesterday never had any problems in school. was a really nice, calm kid. Helped the neighbors out. Would go across the street, play chess with a couple of neighbors. Had a girlfriend. People would talk to him. He was very chill. Was on the track team. People liked him. There was never any issue. As of now, I don't know if he was getting bullied, but I don't think he was getting bullied because if he was, I think he would have went after the people that were bullying him. You know, he just, dude, just lost it. He just had a bad day, and he said, "Fuck, I'm done." The problem I have with it is I think he should have just killed himself and committed suicide instead of taking poor innocent people with him. But that being said, where is the guideline of how do you figure out if they're fucked up in the head or not?
You know, personally, I haven't done a lot of research because I haven't tried to buy my own gun. I mean, I have shotguns before. I have, like, with the Boy Scouts and stuff, where it's like, you know, and it's not like anything crazy, like, you know, insane firearms. You know, it's like black powder rifles, 22s, like real casual kind of, like, you know, it's, you're not gonna like run up on something.
But I'm sure as a kid, it was a little scary.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I never was really like afraid of like using weapons and stuff. I did like archery and stuff like that too. It was more like a marksmanship.
How about some kids in your what do you gotta call it, a group?
Yeah, like a troop or whatever.
Yeah. Where any kids like scared, like I don't want to shoot.
You know, it's not like we casually do it like at like our meetings. It's like when you go to Boy Scout camps, like say when we went to Catalina Island or we went up to Washington. These are like in the mountains, you know, they have like their little like hut kind of things going on. They're like mess halls, and then there's a range where there's like range masters, and then there's people in charge of it, and then you're taught very specific. It's very like there's a lot of like heavy set like rules.
So it's very hands on, like somebody's behind you. No, don't do it that way. Do it this way.
Yeah, and then it's like there's a lot of like regulations and. You're like taught from the ground up, you know what I mean? So it's like you're not gonna give it like you start maybe like when you're 12 or whatever. They're not gonna just give someone who's just like brought on like, a gun and stuff. You know what I mean? They go through like a lot of like steps and stuff. Even with archery and stuff, they like teach you stuff from the ground up. And then if there's any signs of like people like abusing the rights that they're given, you know what I mean? Like the opportunity to like use these like bows and arrows, guns and stuff, it's immediately revoked and they're like not allowed back. You know?
Gotcha.
So in that like state, I don't really think comparing those kids necessarily to like the thing that happened is kind of like the same. Like admittedly, I'm sure there's some batshit crazy kids who are in the Boy Scouts too, but in those circumstances, there's other people there who can immediately mitigate the situation.
Gotcha.
Whereas with the high school shooting, what I have more of an issue is how is this high schooler able to get a gun?
Well, his dad was a hunter.
Yeah.
And his dad passed away about a year ago or two. So obviously, if he was a hunter, there were guns in the house, and the dad probably did the same thing that I would do.
Yeah.
The one thing you do is you teach kids is you learn them to respect the gun. So I would take my kids to a firing range or out in the desert and say, okay, look, this is how you hold a gun, and this is what to have them get a feel of what it can do and the damage it can do.
Yeah.
And also show them how to arm it and disarm it, because a lot of these kids, we've heard it before. Oh, they're at little Joey's house. Joey pulls out dad's gun and shoots a kid in the head.
Yeah.
You know?
Because they don't know how to turn the safety on and off.
Exactly.
They don't know proper training.
Exactly. So if I teach my kids, first of all, if your friend pulls out a gun, you get the fuck out of there.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? First of all. Second of all, if the gun's really close, you make sure you say, yo, let me see it real quick, and you fucking disarm it and get the fuck out of there. You know what I mean? So I would hope that never happens, but that's in a perfect world, So I think that you should teach kids how to respect a gun. Towards the mental health, I'm not a psychologist, I've just done some research on what you hear and the statistics and stuff. I really don't think that you can really test for it. Because this kid, if you think about it, this kid was fine. I mean, there was no signs of anything, nothing weird. Like you hear the kids in Columbine, they suddenly started dressing in black and just started becoming like little outcasts. Or people say, oh yeah, he was kind of weird, or he was really. This kid was just normal. He was just a normal kid. So, I mean, I don't know if they found out more today in the report, but that being said, I don't think that. And as much as I agree that there should be restrictions, like, did you have like a 5150, a little bit more intense exam per se?
Yeah. Well, what I'm thinking is not as much like testing to block out people who have had prior mental health issues, because I'm pretty sure those are vetoed pretty quickly.
Oh, I would think so.
I'm saying like vetting for higher understanding and higher like responsibility levels, like making sure people go through, it's just making it a more rigorous system to get a gun with longer wait times, so that if you really do want a gun, you have to go through courses as opposed to just being like, hey, I want to do this, you know, like, can I apply for a license, blah blah blah, let me get it, you know what I mean, like, here's my ID, like having people go through training courses, having people like show that they, through, you know, testing or whatever, like
they understand,
and they, through, you know, like the testing kind of stuff, like, you know how you can take like the psychological test that they take when you apply for jobs, and it's like 100 questions or whatever, and it's like, fill this out, how you feel, blah blah blah, and it's really like the questions are actually like not related to the questions, but it's like how your responses are, gauge your like leniency towards certain like
signs. And then, you know, somebody, but you know for a fact somebody's gonna say that's bias, and that, you know, people get nervous when they take a test, or there's always gonna be that side that's gonna say, oh well, that's not fair because, you know, they don't take tests very well, blah blah. Somebody's always gonna find an excuse. We know that already.
I'm gonna keep it honest with you. I don't give a fuck what people care, because if I shouldn't have to feel threatened going outside in the streets of LA that some random nut job can have a fucking gun.
No, I agree. Some kid, I agree.
And honestly, everyone's fucking complaining about shit nowadays. You see it, you talk to like with so many people about like political stuff where it's just like people are just trying to politicize everything. They're trying to make it all like, well, people shouldn't rights and okay, that sounds kind of bad when I say it like that. I'm not saying people don't deserve rights.
Yeah, but you know, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
But let me ask you a question. I graduated high school in '92. Mm-hmm. When did you graduate high school?
2012? 13?
I graduated in 2013, dude. You were
2014? You're only like a year past me.
Okay.
Yeah, I think 2014.
Okay.
Yeah.
2014. All right. So what? 5 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay. So in '92, when I graduated high school, right? Most of the time, if somebody had a gun on them, it was either because somebody was after them, or they were gang affiliated and they were ready to just shoot somebody.
Yeah.
Right? Most kids that would come into school either had like a knife or a screwdriver, or something if they were going to get in a fight or something. Mm-hmm. Usually, but not very rare.
Yeah.
Okay. When you were in high school, did you ever hear of kids bringing guns to school?
You know, I don't know about bringing guns to school. It's like I went to like kind of like a worse middle school, but then I went to like Magnet Arts High School, where there's a bunch of like fucking hipster kids who were like smoked American spirits and shit. You know what I mean? They were like trying to make their tumblers aesthetics. They weren't really like on that kind of hype. Like there was maybe like one person who sold pot on campus.
Okay, like, so there's the reason why I'm going with this. Mm-hmm. So obviously times have changed.
Yeah.
And like during my time, I didn't have Facebook. I didn't have Instagram.
Yeah.
I believe MySpace started like when I went to Valley for my junior college and then transferred. So that I think MySpace started like in '95.
MySpace?
Yeah. Maybe.
Was MySpace? I mean, like I think the .com bubble was starting off, but I don't think we had MySpace until 2002, 2001. Yeah, 2001.
Okay, so 2001. Okay, yeah. So it was off.
But I think we still had like there's like some beginning social media platforms.
Right.
Yeah.
But nothing crazy like it is now.
Yeah. Oh, definitely not.
So the question I have for you: do you think social media is playing a toll in these kids trying to shoot or trying to cause a copycat?
I think the problem is that social media creates your newsfeed with a bias around what you like engage with and what you spend. Even if you don't like or comment on something, if your Facebook sees that you're staring at like an advertisement for a handgun for a really long time, it's gonna notice that, mark it down, and then it's going to continue to
the algorithm. Right.
The algorithms are fucked up. It's trying to force feed you things that it knows that you'll like.
Right.
Really like. Be like it sucks you in. You know what I mean? It's social media is really just kind of creepy weird thing nowadays. But
I've always said this. I hate social media. Mm-hmm. Social media is a social toilet. Mm-hmm. However, it's such an amazing tool.
Yes.
If you're trying to start a brand.
Oh, 100%.
Start a business.
Mm-hmm.
Keep your business afloat or expose your business more. I mean, it's a great fucking tool to reach millions of people at a push of a button.
Yeah.
Instantly. But I think also at the same time it's a real social toilet because you have kids that get influenced.
Mhm.
You have cyberbullying. You have people like fake it till you make it. They're
Mhm.
faking, and then other people are like, oh, they're seeing somebody that's faking, and they're like, oh my god, I want their lifestyle.
Mhm.
This would be like that then, and they go a little fucking crazy. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So there's a plus and minus to everything.
Yeah.
I personally feel that social media is playing a little toll on all these kids, especially from junior high to high school,
Mhm.
because they want to wear the right shoes. They want to wear and it's instant.
Mhm.
Oh my, I just got these. What do you got?
Mhm.
And it's constant boom, 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 boom. That these kids are just getting so overwhelmed that I believe there should be a limit, or somewhere should be like, I don't know, cut off,
Mhm.
or somebody should be tracking or seeing their social media to see where they're at.
Yeah. I think the thing is, I admittedly do think that it would be a good idea to have time limits built into these applications like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, to keep you from overusing the social media too much, or from being like just sitting there just drowning in it for too long. But then at the same time, if people were to say, oh, we should impose these sort of regulations on social media, then bada bing, bada boom, other half people are going to come back. That's communist, that's Marxist, you can't take control of this, this is a free country,
Yeah,
blah,
I
blah,
can do
blah.
whatever the fuck I want.
Exactly. So, in that circumstance, I do feel like social media, there are positives, like you're saying, especially in businesses for advertising, paid advertising with targeted marketing. Phenomenal tool.
Oh,
it's a
for
great
sure.
way. I mean, for like, your gym or whatever,
Yeah,
you can specify regions, types of people who engage with certain content.
You create beats. You can put a beat for 1 minute. Hey yo, I make beats. This is some samples here.
Yeah.
And somebody can hit you up like, yo, can you make me a beat? Blah blah blah. I'll pay you this much. Now with Venmo, people are like, oh, give me a deposit. I'll send it. Pay me the other deposit. We're good to go.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, I understand that social media is a great fucking tool, but I really think it's becoming a problem with teens. I'd say from the age of like 12 to 18.
It's because in those circumstances, it's like it's an addiction. Making sure like, oh, I have to make sure like my Instagram looks good. I have to look good on it for these people, for my 400 whatever followers that your high school has. You know what I mean? Like you're trying to like build this image online just for your personal self.
Correct.
Whereas they're not really using it as like a tool for building a business, trying to provide income or whatever. They're just like trying to like, it's mostly just that they're engaging with their friends. And then it's like, even then, it's each different circle, like each person has a different circle that they're engaging with on social media. So little Bob, Joe, or whatever could have like, his friends all play Roblox and that's like all he sees in his newsfeed. But then you have like some girl, some high school girl who's like following a bunch of like e-girl Patreon artists or whatever, like makeup artists or something, and she's like, oh, I need to get liposuction, I need to get lip injections.
Right.
And it's weird because the internet has it's really introduced a lot of different like avenues for people to just get lost. You know what I mean? Like you could just get lost in nowadays. There's so much content. Like it used to be like, oh, you could read a book on stuff or whatever, and it's like, that's cool, you sit there and read a book. Now it's like, oh, well, I saw this person post about this on this thing, so I'm gonna go check this out. And then, oh, this person's related to this person, so I'm gonna go just dive down this hole, and it's just like, spend that time on it.
And the reason why I brought up social media was because I was kind of leading into it. So, we've talked about having metal detectors, police on site, maybe administration, maybe some people in administration, principal, maybe secretary have a handgun.
Yes.
Right? Okay. So we agree on that. And the reason why I was asking about this, do you think that they should, and I really feel about this, that they should actually have now like a psychologist on site, where if you have a problem, you could just walk in and talk to them?
Yeah, I mean, like, because a lot of schools have like, or like middle schools, high schools, elementary schools, they might have like a guidance counselor or whatever, which is supposed to be more so for like classwork, where you
college, you take this, and this, kind of guide you.
Yeah, I think a psychologist on site would be, it's a completely like different approach to it, but I think having a psychologist on campuses could be,
or a therapist. Should we say therapist?
A therapist could be really helpful, especially because a lot of kids have like maybe like poor family lives, so they're dealing with a lot of stress from different outside sources besides school. They can't even focus on school, and then when you're in school, you get sent to the guidance counselor because you're failing class. So really, you just need a therapist to be like, oh, I'm doing all these other things, or like, oh, like I have a really bad life. I can't like be focusing on this. So maybe that could add some assistance. But then at the same time, you're gonna have people coming in on the other side that are like, oh, why are my tax dollars going to these kids? Why can't they just suck it up? So it's, I think it would be useful.
I mean, listen, I think it would be useful. And I agree with you too about the whole tax dollars wanting to suck it up too.
Yeah.
I do think that a lot of them are just little pussies.
Yeah.
But that being said, let's just go with what we're going with right now. I think there should be therapists, but here's a problem that you have, that if you see a kid walking into a therapist and your boys or somebody say, oh, what's wrong with you? You fucking weirdo, blah, 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 because they're not going to, because they may be fine, they may not. Yeah. But they see you going in and I'm like, oh, you're clowning, you're like, yo, man, what the fuck's wrong with you? Fucking, what's something wrong with your head? You know? But because you know it happens.
Yeah.
Kids are the worst. So I think that they should have it. I think they should put them like somewhere like off around campus where you can kind of gradually walk over there and say, oh, you know what, I need to talk to you. Excuse me. And now with social media, they can send a text like, yo, I'll be ready for you like in 15 minutes. So, you know, you just like, I'm just going to go cruise over there, take care of something real quick. And you can talk to them. And I have no problem with it because I think that we spend our tax dollars on so many other stupid things that we should dedicate it to the kids.
But there's a lot of things. Don't even get me started on that.
Okay, so we both agree on that, and that these kids should use help for that. And then at the same time, then you have some of these kids that are like, I think a lot of them in our society now gives them like a title, like he has ADHD, he's depressed, so let's put him on some Xanax, let's put him on Adderall.
Yeah.
It almost seems that our society now is trying to label everybody, transgender, binary. I just heard this term. What is it? Binary. What the fuck? Oh shit.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about
it's like a sexual
sexuality.
Yeah, it's like a sexual
non-binary.
Yeah, non-binary. Right?
Yeah.
You see what I mean? Like everything has a fucking title: bisexual, heterosexual. Gay, lesbian, queer. Everything has a fucking title. And it's like, dude, you just need to suck it up sometimes. The world is cruel. And the world's not going to be like, oh, well, I'm sorry, Ian. Here's your little medicine. Go. It's tomorrow. No, it don't work that way.
I think it really just, it depends on the circumstances, too. Because, like you were saying, before all of... Admittedly, yes, as we've progressed as a society and then with these new avenues of with the advancements of technology and stuff and researching, we have labeled things more. But as we've learned more about things, I think maybe we don't need 40 different gender names.
Yeah, I think we're a little exaggerated there.
I think, I don't have any issues at all with, gays, lesbians, bisexuals, transsexuals, or whatever. They do their thing. That's cool. But, to a certain extent, I think people are becoming, also going back to what you were saying before about therapy, I think people are becoming more open to therapy nowadays. I don't think people
listen, I don't know if you've gone to therapy. I personally have gone to therapy. I think it's great. I think everybody should do it. I'm not saying everybody has problems.
Yeah.
But it helped me for my situation, and I won't talk about it, but what I will talk about it kind of enlightened me. Sometimes you're in the dark.
Yeah.
And 100%. Sometimes somebody makes you look at the most obvious that's in your face, but you don't really see it because you've been blocked. You're kind of overthinking of something, or you're harping on a certain subject or something.
Yeah.
Where somebody says yo, how come you didn't just get another box? You're like, why didn't I get another box? I'm trying to stuff everything in one box. I could have just got another box and distributed the weight, and I would have been cool. What I mean? So I think that's what therapy is really good. It kind of makes you see where you need to fix a problem or what you need to address. So I think personally everybody should try it at least once. I think it's really, really good. But at the same time, there comes times that you have to call yourself out too,
Yeah, I don't think it should be something, I definitely think having therapy at least associated with a school would be useful. If there's maybe a therapist nearby a couple different schools that the school can then refer the students to, and they get a couple of free sessions.
Oh yeah,
or
that's
whatever.
That's I mean, they should be free all the way around. Why not?
Yeah, to an extent, because I don't think there should be a student that every day is trying to blow them up.
Listen, I think that it should also be where if the therapist feels that he needs John needs
Yeah.
a little bit more intense therapy,
Mm-hmm.
then at that point he should say to John, look, you know, I can only help you so much. I feel that you should really go and find help.
Yeah,
with
like
another therapist.
refer them to
Yeah,
someone else.
we need to bring your parents in and so they can understand kind of your situation. It is private, but we need to get you help and
Mhm.
lead you in the right direction. At that point, I don't think any parent would be like, "Oh, fuck that," you know, my kid, you know, because at the end of the day, if you're a true parent, you want nothing but the best for your kid.
That's the thing is, not everyone's a true parent. Though.
Yeah,
that's the
true.
biggest issue.
No.
Is say that you do have a child like this that is having issues, and they do reach out to a therapist on campus, which would be amazing if they did have a therapist on campus and they could work through those issues. So they did have bad family life because maybe their parents are just crackhead piece of shit.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know what
yeah.
I mean?
It could be.
And then, but at least going and seeing the therapist and then working through that and then explaining their problems, maybe they get sent through child protection services, which is not something I wish on anyone or anything, but maybe it could be for the best depending on the circumstances. If you have, parents who are just like, oh, he doesn't need fucking therapy, he needs to suck it up, and then, if he's getting like beaten at home or something.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
we all hear about the stories about some poor kid getting. Did you hear? Not to change the subject real quick,
Yeah.
but did you hear that clip of that mom in Vegas? I guess she was fucking whacked out of her head, and she was stabbing her 7-year-old.
Holy.
And the 7-year-old calls 911.
Yeah.
He's like, my mom's trying to kill me. He's like, my mom's trying to kill me.
Mm.
And then he's like, no. And then the video, somebody's recording it, right?
Yeah.
And then on the video, they show the cops show up, and then it's from the police cam. The kid walks out, he's all bloody.
Yeah.
And the cop goes in, like, no, so she starts struggling with him. She pulls his gun out,
Yeah.
and the other officer shot her and killed her 3 times, right?
Are you talking about the video where it's not the video where the girl has like the scissors or whatever?
No, she had a knife, and they go into her apartment, and she starts struggling with the cops, takes his gun away,
Yeah.
and the other officer had to kill her,
Oh my god.
right? So, hey, probably the best thing that ever happened to that kid.
Yeah, because honestly, it's like we were saying before. Like it's not just like kids, who are getting guns and having mental health issues. It's adults. Imagine if she had a gun and she just snapped and just decided to let loose on her
Right,
kids and did it.
exactly.
You know?
So, but let's just say up to that point, she was fine, normal parent. Neighbors said she was the nicest person in the world. You see where there's such a fine line,
Yeah.
and that's where I kind of struggle, because and going back to, I'm gonna go political a little bit here. For a fact, and you're gonna agree with me here, that all the Democrats, when they heard there was a school shooting, they're like, oh, it's an AR. Kid came to the school with an AR-15, and right when they heard, oh, he had a handgun, they were like, fuck.
This is what I started off with though. Is the thing is like I feel like it's politicized that Democrats don't like guns and then conservatives do like guns or whatever. But I do feel like there's actually a lot of like maybe not like super the hardcore Democrats or whatever that are trying to be like ultra politicized left wing. But I think there's a lot of people who lean on either side of the political spectrum that there's conservatives, a lot of